Today, we are going to start diving into test-driven development. We are going to create unit tests, and I'm going to show you how you can actually write code inside a test-driven development mindset. Now, before we dive into it, if you have any questions or maybe you want me to help you inside your code, or you just want to learn Swift UI test-driven development for that matter, go ahead and check out the first link in the description. It's rebeloper.com/mentoring, where you can meet me on a one-on-one Zoom call. Okay, so test-driven development, what that means is basically you want to write your tests first and then your code. And today we are going to just have a starter for that. Let's create a new Xcode project. Just a second. Here we go. File, new project. There we go. And let's just make this full screen over here so you can see it a bit better. There we go. iOS is fine. Let's click on next. And then let's name this TDD start here. Test-driven development start here. What you want to go is either choose storyboard or Swift UI. It doesn't really matter at this stage. I'm just going to go with the Swift UI one. And language Swift, testing system. Go ahead and select Swift testing with XC-tests UI tests. Now what it does, and we have another option right over here. So XC tests for unit and UI tests for UI testing. So this is kind of the old one, XC testing for unit testing, and Swift testing is what we are going to dive deep into today. So make sure that you select that one, and let's click on next. Now we are, and let's just drop it onto our desktop. And that will create a unit test target and also a UI test target. So as you can see, here are my unit tests, and here are my, the setup and all of that stuff for UI test. XC test is the old kind of way of doing this stuff, and Swift testing, as you can see, is we imported testing right over here, is the new and in my personal opinion, an easier way of writing tests. The API is much simpler. Okay, so we have our content view, we have the project, basically we have our tests, unit tests, and our UI tests. We're not going to go into the UI tests today, but if you run Control Option Command U, if you hit that, all of your tests will be run. So Command U only. Command U will run all of the tests, and then Control Option Command U will run the tests which your cursor is inside. So let's just see if just tap over here. It will run this test, and then one of the most useful shortcuts over here is Control Option Command G, which will run the previously run tests. Okay, so that's it for the shortcuts. Or you could just go ahead and click on the play buttons right over here. If you just run the whole suite, then you just click over here. Or if you want to run the individual tests one by one, or just basically this one currently, then you just click on the play button near the actual test function. Okay, so what is test-driven development? Well, as I told you, you want to write your tests before you even write your code. And we are going to go and take it with a simple example. I basically want to create a developer struct, which has a state variable, no, sorry, not a state variable, a simple variable is at work, and then two basic functionalities. Go to work and leave work. And basically that's it. I'm not going to write it. First, I'm going to write the tests. And how do we write the tests? Well, because this is not yet written inside our code, basically we want to write tests that are going to fail by default. So when we are starting, it's going to fail because it's not going to find the developer struct. But then with that in mind, we want to think about how many tests or what kind of tests do we want to write. And First of all, we are going to have a variable is at work on the developer struct. So basically, when that's going to be initialized, it should be set to false. So we are going to test against that. That will be our very first test. So let's just start off with a new test function. So these are functions, and you want to append a test before them. Okay, so a function, and let's just name this developer starts home. Okay, and we are going to write our test right over here. So how do we write an actual test? Well, there is a convention, like you want to set things up, then you want to execute, make some action, and then you want to expect something. So it's something like given, when, and then. So you want to go and have all of your tests structured this way. So given, when, then. You're going to get accustomed to this. So given a developer, so let developer equals developer. What do we want to do? Well, when, this is actually just going with a given one because developer is going to be initialized, then we're going to get into the when in another test. Then we want to expect, so you just go hash expect a Boolean condition. Yes, the developer dot is at work, come on, is at work equals false. Add a comma, and if this does not apply, then add a comment to it. So developer should not be at work initially. Yeah, that's a really nice explanation right over there. Okay, so if we run our test, I'm just going to click on the play button right over here. It will take a while on the very first one because it's just starting off the first build. But as you can see, the test has failed, and as you can see, it says cannot find developer in scope. So now it's a great time to actually create our developer. But where are we going to create this struct? Well, not inside our testing target, not over here, but inside our main target. And that's why we imported TDD start here as a testable. So a testable, import TDD start here. And it's also importing testing. You already know that. If for some reason foundation cannot be found, then you also want to import foundation right over here. So what we're going to do is right click over here and create a new empty file. Again, it's inside our project. So developer, it's not inside our testing target. So let's import foundation, and this will be a struct of developer. And let's just have our is at work variable is at work equals false. Okay, so currently that's it. That's more than enough to test our test that we have written. So now I'm just going to tap on the suite. So all of the tests inside the suite will be run, but since we have only one will be run. So build test succeeded. And now it's just installing and testing. Again, this is for the very first time. It will take a little bit depending on your computer performance. As you can see, testing has passed. So, hey, we have our green check mark over here, which is really nice inside the diamond. So that's really satisfying. So that's our very first test. We have written the test beforehand, and then we have written our code. So we are expecting a developer. That's a given. That's what we are testing. And then when the developer has been initialized, okay, this is kind of inferred right over here. We expect the developer is at work to be false. Otherwise, developer should not be at work initially. It's going to be presented. So if I just go in here and set this to true, for some other reason, maybe another developer just changed it arbitrarily, and that's not okay, because that's why we are running tests over here. Let's just run again. Let's hit Option Command G, Control Option Command G, and that will run the latest run. I see. It's just going to run on my phone. That's fine. You could just select any other simulator or device. So build has failed. Let me just select one of these devices and start the build again. So Control Option Command G is just going to launch also either the simulator or the device that you have selected right over here. So it's installing. Yes, let's just wait for it. It needs to install it on either the device or the simulator for these to run. So let's just see it. It's launching. Yeah, it's a little bit, you have to be on the patient side because it takes a while. And as you can see, now it has failed. So here it is. It says expectation failed. Developer is at work is true, and it should be false. Developer should not be at work initially, as you can see. That's great. So that's it. Now, this menu popped up, the test navigator. Yeah, it's a navigator. And this is where all of your tests will be shown, or you could just go ahead right over here for a list of all the tests that you have run. So let's just jump back over here, and you can just go dive deep into the tests that you have selected. And as you can see also, because I'm running everything, it's also running the UI tests too. You could just remove these, or, if it takes really long. It does take a while, so but this tutorial, we don't have any UI test set up, so I'm just going to leave it in there. Okay, so that's how it's actually going to fail. So let's just set back this to false, and let's go and create our second test. So we are going to write here a go to work function. Well, not just yet, but that would be our goal. And before we do that, we want to set up a test. So add test, and let's just call this func developer goes to work. It's plain simple. So even if you're just starting out from scratch with unit testing, you understand. So again, given, when, then. Let me just type that out. Given when and then. Okay, so given the developer, so let developer, so we created a developer. Okay, when the developer dot goes to work, then we would expect the work is at work to be true. So at expect, the condition would be developer dot is at work equals true, and developer should be at work after going to work. Yeah, that's it. So I'm just going to hit tab for auto completion, and that's fine. Okay, so again, the diamonds just went away. Usually if I just go ahead and go into another file, or maybe even restart Xcode for if it's not going to appear, it's just going to appear right over here. Switching files did the trick for this today. Okay, so let's just build this. And as you can see, it just failed, basically. Initially, it did not see the developer goes to work member, the actual function. So that's fine. This is how you should do it. It should fail at first. And then we are going to go into the developer and actually write that code. So func, and let me just make sure that I copy out the exact function name, goes to work. And basically, we are just going to set is at work equals true. Okay, now we can go back and run the test again. So again, clicking on the play button, and let's just see, build has failed. Can assign mutable. Oh, we want to, just a second, is at work is true, self is immutable. Let's just see. Mutating, yeah, so we want to set up a mutating function. Okay, so now let's go into the tests and run that again. Okay, build that failed. Can't use mutating function on the developer. Let's just see what's going on over here. Oh, let's apply that. So not a let variable on the developer, we want to make it a var, so it's a variable because it's mutating. Okay, hopefully, fingers crossed, this test will go through. And basically, that's it. You're going to have a lot of frustration, like I'm having it right over here on live on YouTube. But yes, that's what you want to have. You want to iron out all of your basically mistakes. And you want to have properly running tests. And I'm also going to run the suite now so you can see that both tests should pass right now. So developer starts home. Yes, both of them have passed. So again, most importantly, a given, when, then. Now, as the last exercise over here, I'm going to create another function, developer comes home. So, and again, I'm going to go with a test. I'm going to start with a test. Let's just name this func developer, come on, comes home. Okay, it doesn't have to be asynchronous or nor throwing. If you want to learn, or if you want me to build out these types of tutorials more in depth, go ahead and comment in the comment section, and even like this video, so I know that you actually want to learn about test-driven development and unit testing. So developer comes with a capital C, home. Okay, so again, given that's the developer, I'm just going to copy that out. Then what happens? Then developer dot, not goes to work, leaves work. Okay, that's the then. And sorry, that's the when, and then we want to expect, so hash expect, come on, expect developer dot is at work equals false. Yeah, and developer should not be at work after leaving work. Okay, yeah, basically that's it. Again, I'm going to run the test. Build has failed, value of developer has no, member leaves work. So let's create that. And again, this is the workflow. You create your test first, and then you write some code. So let's just go into the developer. Let's create a mutating func so we don't have that error late again. So leaves work, and that is at work equals false. Because, it leaves work. That's how the variable should change. Is at work is false. Now we come back to the test and run our test again. So let's see that build test succeeded. Great, and hopefully it will pass. Test succeeded. That's amazing. Now, this is just the beginning. If you'd like to learn even more about test-driven development or unit testing, go ahead and like this video, maybe subscribe to the channel, hit the comment section and let me know what you'd like to learn about in unit testing. And also, if you are short on time, go ahead and check out my mentoring sessions. It's at rebeloper.com/mentoring. You can meet me on a one-on-one Zoom call.